Hello. So I am going to do this really fast because today I told myself that I can't have my coffee until I'm done recording. So I'm like, do it. Do it fast. Do it now. All right. So the cough is going away. It's just like dry and annoying at this point. Okay. Hi. Hi. It's Monday. So much has happened already today. And I'm just like, whatever. It's a new week. I have like this whole schedule that I made for myself now, which is interesting because I rebel against myself. I create schedules and then I rebel against my schedule. And so it's just weird because I'll spend so much time making a calendar and then I'm just like, I ain't doing any of this. You can't make me do it. And I'm like, why do I do that? So this time is going to be different because this time I'm trying to make sure that I like do it and stick to it and love it instead of rebelling against it. Loca. All right. I don't even know like what's going on here. Okay, you can't be making that noise while I'm getting ready to do this computer. Close that one. I don't know if that'll help. Okay. YouTube sent me a message to say, you're live. Thank you. I'm glad that I know that now. All right, so new episode. Here we go. Music. Nope. Okay, add this one. Here's the music. Okay, turn up the volume and I'm gonna add the little blurb that I say at the beginning, the intro. The last time I published, it was all out of order and I was freaking out because I didn't know how to fix it. But then it fixed itself. So I was like, okay, why did it publish it all out of order at first? That was kind of frustrating. Intro. No, not delete. Add. Okay. And then this little sound, this like a chuka chuka ah, or whatever. I don't know if it sounds like that. Nope. Great. That's it. Okay, I have to remember that it's called break. All right, now I am going to talk. And I already, like my voice feels all scratchety and I need my coffee. So I'm like, this is crazy. I did drink water today though. I'm going to get some water just because. Maybe that's when I need water. Okay, crazy thing is I took the liberty of like prepping my coffee so that as soon as I'm done here, I can go and warm it. It's like, what is wrong with me? I think I'm an addict. All right. I had to refill my bottle. So this morning, I started part of my new schedule, which is spend 30 minutes at the top of my day posting on Facebook and clearing my notifications because I find that if I don't group that together, like I'm just doing that all day long, like getting distracted by notifications and responding. So I'm like, no, I'm going to take a set time and respond. and move on. And there was somebody who was like making these troll comments at me, and I didn't get sucked in for too long, luckily, because I had my mastermind partners and they were like, you need to ignore that crap. But you know how that gets to you? It's like so many amazing people out there on the internet, and it'll be like one crazy person, and they just make you feel like your life is a waste of time. So I was like, I'm not going to let this guy. He's sad. He's sad, and there's some hurt that he's dealing with not very well, and he's projecting. So anyway, here we go. So I'm going to talk about how you create your future self. All right. And I think I'll tell the story about when I created my future. She's awesome. All right. Under my notes here, I wrote visualize, write, vision board, magazines. So I think that means scripting. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready. My voice is not ready. I don't like it. I don't like that scratchy voice. Cold water ain't getting it. I need coffee. Okay. Hello and welcome to episode 4. Today we're going to be talking about how you can create your future self. Future self is an incredible tool that you can use to not only encourage yourself in the now, like encourage who you are in this moment, but also to relieve the anxiety of not knowing what's going to happen next. At least that's how I used it. So today I want to tell you about creating a future self. It's kind of like a future self avatar. I don't know if you guys have heard of that term, avatar. Like if you're like have a business and you want to know who your ideal client is, use this ideal client avatar, like who the person is that would be like the perfect person to work with you. So you can do that with yourself and have a future self avatar. So I want to tell you today the story about my future self avatar and when I first created her and how she completely changed my life. So here we go. So what happened was it was in 2019. I was a frump girl. Like I had been beaten down mindset wise. I was just beaten down, y'all. Like I was wearing clothes that, weren't the right size for my body, not the right color. I always wore a sweater, even like a cardigan sweater, even in the summertime. I just wanted to blend in, fade into the background. I had been through so much in my career, and it had really taken a toll on me. I had zero confidence. And I'm painting this picture because you really need to know like where I started from. And this was only in 2019, right? This was not that long ago. But I was a self-identified front girl. Like I that's what I knew, I knew what I was going through, but I didn't know how to get out of it. Just drab, right? Just drab. Wore my hair in a bun every day, just drab, just really trying to hide. My self-confidence had gotten really beaten down because I started in a job that was very rigorous, but I was single and I didn't have kids. And so I was in it, like I was working, and I dedicated my entire life to it, and it was fine. That was fine with me. But then I got married and it didn't work out. I was working a lot, he didn't feel like that was great. Anyway, he was a great person. I just didn't have the priority for not working. So, and that's a story for another day, but we ended up getting a divorce like very soon after getting married. And I was still working at that job, but not for very long because I realized that I needed to make a change, that it was too high of a priority in my life and it wasn't working for me. So I changed to a different company, but at the same hospital. And I started to have issues with a bully boss. I had a boss who was very good at being a bully, like most bullies are, especially at work. They are skilled at it. And I will tell you so much advice on how to deal with a bully boss if you are, because luckily I conquered that. I conquered it. And I learned a lot about myself in the process. But on the other side of that situation, I was a front girl. Like I was hiding. I didn't want to be noticed or recognized. I didn't want to achieve anything because I didn't want, you know, this person to call me out for anything. Like there was a whole lot of psychological drama that went along with being in this situation. And I didn't have the confidence to leave, but it's kind and it's not even like we can talk about bully bosses and things like that because I know a lot of people deal with that same issue and you don't know when to leave. And a lot of times you don't want to leave. Like that's your career. You don't want to leave. You don't know where to go. So anyway, I got to the other side of this situation. I ended up changing jobs again. And I was an empty shell of who I had been. When I graduated from med school, and when I graduated from internship or residency to the person I'd become after 16 years of practice in medicine, it was like this empty house. I was like a zombie compared to myself. My confidence was completely beaten down. And so that's a whole other story. But what happened is I found myself in this situation that I was looking in the mirror and saying, like, what happened to you? Who are you? You're aging at an incredibly rapid rate. Like, what is going on with you? It was crazy. And I decided that I couldn't go on that way. And I realized that I had all this debt and I realized I was not happy. So clearly the things I had purchased were not making me happy like I thought they would. The home that I had was not making me happy. We had a rental home. I had a BMW. Like all these things that I had were not making me happy. All the crap that I bought didn't make me happy. All the food that I bought over those years, I was just fat, unhealthy, unhappy. It was nuts, right? And so this is why I'm coming on to tell you guys this, because when you get out of debt, and you will, if you don't have the right mindset, you won't be happy either. Because no matter what your circumstances is around you, you can be happy in any circumstance, right? And being in debt and being out of debt, the only difference is that I know who I am now and I feel like a different person because my mindset is different. So if you're in debt and you're feeling like, oh, once I get out of debt, this is all going to be great. Well, no, it probably won't. And there's a reason that you got into debt. It's probably trying to buy your way out of unhappy feelings. I know that's what I was doing. I can be the first to admit it. Everything that we buy is because we believe that we will feel better having it. And it'll look shiny in the store, but if really the problem is that you hate your job or you hate your life or you're in an unhappy relationship or you live in a part of the world that you're not excited about, like you're a warm-natured climate person and you're living in the cold or vice versa, like if anything in your life and situation is like an underlying issue for you, then it doesn't matter, where you take yourself. You have to change your mindset first. I feel like I'm rambling. I hope that makes sense. So this is what I did. So I know you logged on so you could hear exactly how I changed this. So what I did was, excuse me. I decided one day that I had to change. I needed to stop being a front girl and I needed to get out of debt. And in my mind, like I had no idea how I was going to do it, but in my mind, I felt like there was a version of me who had conquered these things, right? Because I felt like, I've gone through so much in the past and I'm here. So clearly I will get through this and get to be somewhere else. So I calculated, how long it would take to pay off the debt. And I decided that it would be 5 years, at least 5 years. Like that was the most realistic thing I could think of. And so I was like, okay, 5 years, it'll be 2024. All right, I'm going to do this. And I committed to doing it. And the way that I created my future self was by thinking of, okay, it's 2024. Who am I? What do I look like? This version of me who's not in debt, what does she look like? What does my life look like in 2024 when I'm debt free? Okay, and so what I did, this was funny. So I started doing this every day. Like I was living in my daydreams. Being in my daydream was the only thing that was keeping me feeling sane because like life was so crazy. I had like my twins and I think they were 2 in 2019. They were like 2 or 3. I can't even remember. Was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019. I can't even believe it was only 2019. Anyway, so my kids were small. They were toddling around and life was just crazy. And so I just started to escape to my daydreams. And I actually called her 24. Like I named her 24. And so I'd like go visit 24. And so I tried to think of, in these daydreams, I tried to think of like, what does she look like? What does she dress like? Where does she hang out? What's her home like? I would go and pretend, not go, but I would like sit and daydream, like in these meetings and stuff at work, I'd be daydreaming. Like if I walked up to her house and I rang the bell and she opened the door, what does she look like? And how does she greet me? And even to the point of what does she smell like? What does she smell like? What does the house smell like? If my kids were doing something wacky or if they were sick, because at that point they were going to daycare and they were sick all the time and I get worried about them, I would just escape to my daydream and I would ask my future self if I could hang out with the kids, right? And so for 24, the kids were like, I don't know, like 7 years old or 8 years old. And so I go to my future self house and I sit at the kitchen table with my older, like my kids who were already like my kids at the age that they'll be in 2024. You get it? So like I'm visiting not just with my future self, but I'm visiting with my future kids and they're healthy and they're like, yeah, we're fine, and they're talking about what they like in school. And so in my daydreams, I would have so much less anxiety because I'd just be so focused on the fact that everything turns out okay. Everything is going to turn out okay. It's going to be fine. Right? And I love doing that. And that kept me so calm and so joyful. And so what would happen is I would start to see, smell, feel 24 in a way that I could emulate her. And I remember the very first thing that I did, I got her shoes. I was thinking about her greeting me at the door and I thought, what kind of shoes is she wearing? Right? And I was digging myself out of debt, y'all. Like I was digging myself out of debt. So I couldn't just go out and buy shoes, but I just looked and imagined like, what kind of shoes is she wearing? And I saw that she was wearing, those little booties. They're like little boots with like a little heel, but they're just like ankle boots. And I was like, oh, and I've never worn shoes like that before. I've never worn those kinds of little boots. And I was like, oh, those are cool. So I got myself a pair of those. And I felt so happy just walking around wearing those because I felt like I had a little piece of her, a little piece of my future reality when life is good, when I'm out of debt, and I was wearing 24's shoes. This expanded to other ideas. How does she dress? How does she carry herself? I stopped wearing those sweaters. I started sitting up straight in meetings. I started standing up straight when I walked. I started doing a little sashay when I walked instead of trying to hurry up and get to where I'm going. I started wearing my makeup in a different way. I started wearing this really pretty fuchsia lipstick, which if you're watching on YouTube, as I record this podcast, you can see it because I'm wearing it right now. I started wearing earrings. Just all these things that I saw 24 doing that I wanted to do because I wanted to be that person who's on the other side of the debt. I went so far as to get the perfume that I wear now because when I was asking myself, what does she smell like? What does she smell like? And I would get, you know, how you have like magazines, you know, either you have them or someone else has a magazine. They had a little perfume sample. I would always smell it and think, is this what I smell when I'm in my daydream? And I finally came across one and I was like, this is it. This is the smell. And the funniest thing is it's Estee Lauder's Beautiful. And my mom had Beautiful when I was a kid, and I used to borrow it, I think, in high school or whatever. And so this one is, the newer version of Beautiful. I can't remember if it's called Beautiful Belle, but when I looked at the label, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is it. So I think this is my signature scent that I've always had. So ever since I was little, and I always loved that smell. My mom had tons and tons of perfumes. She didn't have a signature scent. She just had like a lot of perfumes, but this is the one that I was drawn to. And here I am as an adult, you know, 25, 30 years later, still drawn to that same scent. I was like, this is my signature scent, and this is what my future self wears. So I started to wear it. And it started to transform me, not just the perfume, but the entire idea. The shoes, the perfume, the way I carried myself, the way I spoke, everything. I was just trying to be this person that I was looking up to. And it felt so good. Like I stopped being frumpy. And it only took 14 months to get out of debt. It didn't take the entire 5 years. Fran of 2024 became Fran of early 2019 or 2020, or I don't even know now at this point. When do we get out of debt? Okay, so this is 2020. I feel like I'll be wasting your time trying to figure this all out, but we've been out of debt for over a year. So we got out of debt in June of 2019. I created Fran of 2024 in January of 2019. So I have been trying to get out of debt since I think March of 2018. I created my future self in the following January, and we were out of debt in 6 months. And I was a whole new person. I was more confident. I was happier. You know, all that happiness that we try to buy in Hobby Lobby and Walmart and Macy's, all that happiness has to come from inside of us. So as we go along on this journey together, I will show you in detail how to create this, like your core values, all the things that'll make your life happier without you having to spend money for it. And it'll actually clarify what you want to spend your money on versus what you probably currently are spending your money on. Because it's all very, very deep. It's deeper than you think. It's so unconscious for most of us, but there's actually a reason that we spend money on the things that we do. And there's a reason we're in debt. And there will be a reason that once you get out of debt, that you stay out of debt. You will have a reason for that if you follow the steps that I have lined out. Which brings me to the Everyday Manifesting Members Club. This club has not opened yet. It will be opening soon. But in this club, you will have support. We will talk about all these steps, and I'll show you everything that I've done to create this life that I'm talking about. Like, I paid off my debt. I saved a ton of money. I quit my job. I started this business. I'm going to be coaching. Like, it's like the dream has come true, and it's been, it's like years and years and years of having these ideas, and then finally, boom, they all just start happening one after another. Like when you line up the dominoes and you knock them down, like everything's happening so fast because I figured out how to live my core values. And that's what I want to teach you. So in the Everyday Manifesting Members Club, I focus on women who identify as spenders. And I will show you how to, first of all, get out of debt. And if you're already out of debt, I'll show you how to stay out of debt by living your core values and by building in processes to keep you from going back into debt because you're a spender like me who likes to buy stuff. And, there's ways to keep yourself from falling into that trap again. And also to have a happy life, because that's the difference between paying off your debt and then living this life that you hate versus paying off your debt and having a happy life and still being able to spend. So I haven't settled on an official name for my program yet, but I know it has something to do with cake and having your cake and eating it too, because that's the way I feel like my life is right now. Like I get to have my cake, which is being debt free, and I get to eat it too because I still get my treats. I still get my treats. So that is my story of how I created my future self. In subsequent podcast episodes, I will definitely tell you all the different ways you can create your future self, because some people have told me that they're not great at visualization. They have a hard time. Like how I said, I just sat there and daydreamed. A lot of people have a hard time daydreaming. So if you're one of those people, I have lots of other ways that you can create your future self that are just as much fun. So we'll talk about that. But for now, I want to say ta-ta and have a wonderful day. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye. Okay. Save that. Add recording to episode. Woohoo! I might actually be doing this right this time. And then I need to add break on there. I think I rambled so much at the beginning. Like I was talking, like I just forgot y'all were here. And I was talking and I started thinking about like my ex and like the whole drama, like just how horrible my life was during that time period. Like when I had gotten married and when I was working at my first job, and I just got lost into that whole story. And I was like, it was like, there was a moment where I was like, oh, like this is not what we're here to talk about. Like get out of there. And oh man, it's just stuff I hadn't thought about in a long time that I should probably like think about and declutter whatever those emotions were that were getting me down, because I was like down a whole other road, which happens when you're doing stream of consciousness work. Because the only notes I have in front of me are my podcast episodes. Like I've brainstormed like what I want to talk about over the next year. It looks like I have so many episodes, but I don't have notes in front of me to just read. I'm just like going stream of consciousness. And I was like, whoa, girl, get back on track, because I don't know where you're about to go with this story, but we don't need to hear it. It's crazy. Okay, and then I'm adding the outro. So maybe this time, and then the music. Okay, maybe this time if I create the thing in order instead of rearranging it, then when I upload it, it'll be in order. So hopefully. So music, the intro, the break, me talking, break, the outro, the music. Alrighty, we'll see. Rename the segment. Oh, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank you for hanging out with me while I'm doing this, because if I was doing it, I'm going to press publish. Okay, I'm going to press publish. Isn't that funny? I interrupt myself. Okay, episode title is going to be 004. How to, I really want to know do my old ones have quotation marks? No, they don't. Good. Okay, good. All right. How to create future self avatar. I'm going to go ahead and put that. This is a story about the time I want to say devolve, but that's not a good word. A confident local resident to a frumpy, sad, broken, Front girl. And sorry, there's somebody cutting something outside. You can probably hear it. And what I did to transform into the person I am today. That opens a story loop, right? This is a story about the time I went from a confident medical resident to a sad, broken front girl and what I did to transform into the person I am today. Okay, season 1, episode 4, and it is now gonna be published. I'm clicking publish now. 20 minutes and 31 seconds of an episode. Thank you for hanging out with me while I recorded this podcast. So right now I'm going to make my coffee. I'm not a dancer, y'all. I'm not even gonna pretend. I'm not a dancer. And I'm going to do some law of attraction processes. So like I said, I made myself a schedule. And on my schedule today, I am going to meditate. So I'm going to meditate and I'm going to look at my vision board. And like after I meditate for 10 minutes, look at my vision board for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to get started on my project for today, which is I got this amazing idea for a planner. So I know this week I'm supposed to be creating content so I could schedule it out next week. But I have to give birth to these ideas when they come up. I have to. So I'm about to create a digital planner for 2021, like a dated planner. And I should probably do one that's undated too. I think I'm gonna do that too. And put those in my Etsy shop. So if you have any questions or you want to go see it and all that stuff, like down in the description, there is a link to the Etsy shop so you can see all the stuff that I'm talking about when you are like, what is she talking about? All right. So I will talk to you later. Thank you. I'll see you next time.